Oh, I know.
Hello and welcome to the Faithbuilding Podcast, episode 32. And today's episode is about something we all love, hopefully. If not, we love it afterwards. And as always, with your amazing host, Vladi, Kuna.
And Norman Gräter. Hi, guys.
Today we want to speak about the thing that makes the world go round. Money, 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 money. We want to speak about money because many people requested let's speak about money, or that we speak about money. So we give you our share about money, about some tools, how to keep money in your life, how to get money in your life, and how to make money your best friend. And to kick it off, I want to start with a little story. Just imagine money would be a good friend and money would be a human being. So money rings at your door. Ding dong. And you open the door. If money would be a real person, how would you react? Because many belief-based statements people have in their mind based on their past or their parents or their upbringing is, oh, money is evil, the last shirt has no pocket, money ruins the character, stuff like that. So if you believe stuff like that and there's a person outside the door that looks like $1 million bill, what would you say? Imagine it would be a human being, would be a friend, and you open the door and you say, oh, money ruins the character. I don't want to have it. Oh, I'm so spiritual. I don't want to have money because money is evil. Do you think that money would freely and happily come into your house and enjoy its time there? Or do you think the more you bring out your belief-based statements that you learned and inherited, the more money would move away and say, you know, if I'm not welcome, just tell me. I go next door to the neighbor that drives the Porsche anyway, and he invites me in and says, bring all your relatives, bring gold, bring silver, bring platinum, bring everything of value. And I really like this little story for your mind. Because very often, the more spiritual we are, the more we push money away and say, no, we don't do it for the money. It's true, do it for the people, but don't do it without the money. Because if you go to the bakery, you cannot say, you know, I'm a spiritual teacher, I'm sitting on a rock 8 hours a day and I give away my work for free. And then the baker would say, it's interesting, but the pretzel is still €1. So we all need money. So we want to find out what your beliefs are, and hopefully the next 30 minutes will help you to find out some things that you can clear out of your mind and invite money more into your house, into your life. And with that, Vladi, what are your thoughts about money, money, money?
You know, it used to be my least favorite subject, and I was one of those who had so many beliefs around money. Like money is root of all evil. Not all evil, but I would think that rich people are actually mean people. They never do anything to help. You know, they just... Really, what are your beliefs about money? You need to really pay close attention. What Norman was saying, I love the story, by the way. Like that is such a great story, because what are the stories you tell yourself about money? And let me tell you something. If you tell me that I don't really care that much about money, going to what Norman said, because I'm spiritual, you know, I'd rather be a good person, as if you couldn't be both. I love the quote where Bob Proctor used to tell us, and that was this: love people and use money, not the other way around. Money make you more of who you are already. So think about that. I know with all the episodes, we always talk about the best version of yourself, the highest, truest self. But money truly makes you more of who you are. So if you are an egoistic, selfish person and you will have lots of money, you will just be more of who you are anyway. People don't change. They have to change from within, and it has nothing to do with the money. But how we people look at that and associate and give people labels just because of money, that's wrong too. Because there are so many people who really deserve to have a money. And success is not created overnight. People work their entire life. And, you know, like people say, look at certain... I'm going to mention, my friend said to me, oh, look at J-Lo. She has it easy. I said, did you read her story, how she started? How difficult it was for her? How she had to perform and she had nothing? It's easy to look at someone who's already built an empire. But what they've gone through, the journey and what they put through, That's why they have the money. But if you say that I don't really care that much for money, then you're lying. And if you lie about that, you lie pretty much about lots of other things. Why? Because think about this. You go out and spend most of your entire day, every single day, going out there making money. Is that not true? Do you not go to job or run your business or whatever is it to have to bring the financial so you can actually take care of your family or yourself or buy the house or, because we need to live. All these necessities that we need in our life, like Norman said, they're not going to go, oh, okay, that's great, you're spiritual. Oh, here you go. Come and pick up your bread for free. That's how it doesn't. Money is energy. And we exchange it for a value of something else. So if you say, I don't care about money, think about that again. Because you're spending most of your life trying or making or really enjoying making, it depends what state you're in, earning money so you can actually have a better life. So you do care about it. Otherwise, you wouldn't give your life. So you're trading your life for it. So Norman, trading for your life for it. Let's go from there. How do people trade their lives for money?
I think they trade their life by not really realizing what their inner drive is. If what Vladi just said, if you give away your stuff for free, you're not aware of your value. Maybe you say, yes, I'm aware of my value and it's very high. Still, what is so wrong about receiving something for giving? You give value, you give your time, you give a product, you give energy, you give whatever. What is so wrong that you also receive something? It's about giving and receiving. Because you have a fear of not being loved. Because if you name a price, people could say, oh, that's way too much. So you rather say, then I don't ask for any price, so everybody loves me right away, because if I give it away for free, of course the whole world loves me. Still, it does not resolve the issue. And I'm just being thrown back to the last episode where we just briefly touched it with the energy. I watched the third part, I think, yesterday of The Last Dance. It's basically a documentary about Michael Jordan and the Bulls, his team. And in episode 2 or 3, I'm not quite sure, he said something that I actually woke up with this morning. He said I was always very competitive. He and his brothers and family, the father was very strict and hard and was always pushing the girls and boys to be competitive. And he always wanted to win. Like when he was competing with his brother, he always wanted to win. And the brother said, if you want to really get Michael going, tell him that he cannot do something. And then he really pushed through. And this reminded me so much of Arnold Schwarzenegger. We all probably know, I'm quite sure we all know him. Because he had a similar situation. The father was very tough and demanding and always pushing the two boys, who is the better one. He was always in a constant competition with I think it was his younger brother, if I'm correctly. No, he had an older brother. Yes, that's why when they went out and got flowers for the mother, usually the older brother got the tap on the shoulder and not Arnold, because he was the younger one. And I thought about that. I thought we always like to talk about and, of course, behave in a positive way. See the positive, don't go against things, be nice, give away stuff, it will come freely back to you. And we see that some people that do exactly the opposite, that are driven by a strong need, a strong lack, basically, of not being loved if they don't win, by the father in this case, that they still have so much success. Do they work their butts off? Yes, for sure. And still, they attract wealth, success, and whatever they are known for. And I thought, maybe it's, and this is nothing new if you think about it, and still, we are still in the process that we understand stuff every day. I thought, so it's not just about the positive things you focus on and don't say but and don't say I don't want to, because you attract the opposite, because your brain does not know the word no. All those things, I realized it's not so true. And the conclusion I came up with, and this goes very well about money today, is what is your driving energy behind it? And I think looking at those two superstars, at the end of the day for the universe, it does not matter if you have a strong negative force where you have many more highways for negative thoughts in your mind. And it's not so much about being positive, because we all know when you're furious, you have a lot of energy, you have a lot of emotion. So actually, if you said, I'm this Mr. Nice Guy, Mrs. Nice Guy, and money is not coming to me, can you just try for the fun of it the opposite way and say, I am so sick and tired that there's not enough money and I won't stand this situation one more day. Because if money is not coming yet, why not trying a total different way? Because the way you're using right now seems not to work. And coming back to Michael Jordan and Arnold Schwarzenegger, if a very, from our point of view, negative lack kind of mentality helps them to be superstars and known and have more money than most people on the planet together, this must work as well. What do you think, Vladi?
I love what you're saying because it's so true. It's what you, and this is the subconscious mind we always talk about. It doesn't care what you plant. If you tell it, I'm successful, I'm wealth, I'm prosperity, and you feel and see yourself in there because you must have a vision. Without the vision, we perish. And it's true. We're not really going towards anything. So what's your vision? In your vision, are you wealthy? I love the story actually, Norman, because it's so many times it's about competitiveness. But I'm going to tell you what it all comes down to, because I know we don't have 5 hours to talk about it, which we could actually. We love this subject with Norman. But it really comes down to people want to be seen, people want to be heard, and people want to be respected. And so many of us, and it really starts and stems from a childhood, most of the times, that we desire, and I'm going to talk about we, but I'm specifically talking about clients I'm working with. And when we get to the point of their goals, what they really want and desire, then they realize that the reason they wanted it is because they haven't been seen all the time and they wanted approval. So when you're coming from this frequency, and that's what Norman was talking about. So when you're coming from the lack frequency, that you need the outside world to fill in the cup to be valued, then you're doing it wrong. And you will become a multimillionaire because that's your focus. That's what you want. You're seeing it, you're feeling it, it will happen. But you will not be happy. And that's why so many people have reached this incredible successful life. They don't have a partners to enjoy it with, or they do, but they're changing partners to, or they don't have that in love forever relationship. Let's call it that way. That one we would all love. And there's nothing wrong if you find out you're with the wrong partner, find someone else. I'm not being judgmental to who you should be with, but really everybody desires to be loved and love and actually shares all this wealth you build with someone. I mean, there's no fun enjoying it alone. It's like I say with climbing, I can climb it alone, but there's no fun in it. If there is no fun in things, in making money, then actually that's why you will suffer with, it will go to anxiety, worry, doubt, depression, and really disintegration. So it's the whole other side which we don't want to activate. Why? Because we won't be inner happy. So is money an indication of happiness? No, it isn't. But it's our fault if it isn't, because we activated it from the neediness, from instead of working on ourselves and feeling our inner worth with something that has to be felt from inside, the inner beauty, even worthiness, feeling good enough. We feel it and surround ourselves with better houses, cars and stuff. And we are hoping that the society will take us. And now I'm somebody because I'm in proximity with certain people and I have much better house. And people, sometimes you can look at them and they drive the nice cars like I'm better than you. But this is not the key to really be the highest self. I'll tell you a quick story, which actually my mentor, Mary Morrissey, said. So I know it from her, but it was Raymond Charles Barker. Raymond Charles Barker was a really great mentor a while ago. He wrote the book Money is God in Action, just in case you're interested. And she went to see his live event. She drove miles just to see this guy. The reason she went to see him was because he was spiritual. So this is what we're talking about here. Money, spirituality, like people have a hard times to blend those two together. Because it's almost like, but we have enough love, honey. Don't worry. We don't need money. Like lots of parents say that because we love each other, as if you couldn't do both. It's just looking for opportunities doesn't really mean you can't be loved. But this is why so many people actually then they feel the inner void missing with the outside void, which is what they can surround themselves. And he stood on a stage, spread the money like this. I mean, these are fake. We use them for the casino games and at the school ball. And he spread the money and he stood on a stage and he did this. I love money. And literally, Mary's story was like, I felt disgusted. She said, this guy is not even spiritual. Like, why did I drive all this way to come to listen to this guy? And he's just another ego-obsessed money person. And then he said, how many of you in this audience did think, oh my God, what is this guy doing? He's not even spiritual. The reason he said, let me do it a different way. I put the money away and I'm going to bring my 5-year-old grandchild in here. I'm going to pick him up and say, this is my grandson and I love him. Nobody will think of me that I am evil or egoistic and money obsessed because it's a human, because we're programmed to think that way. We're programmed to pick on people saying, oh, I love you as a person, but you say, I love money and money loves me, or I'm a money-making machine. And what is the immediate thought you have? Pay attention to how you react or respond to statements like that. Because if you feel like, oh my God, look at that guy, it means there is something inside you that you're telling yourself a wrong money story. Money is just energy. There's good money and bad money energy. Same with people. There are good people, bad people. Okay, there's no good or bad, but yes, there are in certain perceptions. And in your world, there is truth and false. So you judge things based on how you created your world. And if we look at money as a root of like, this story I love because it goes to what Norman started, how Norman started the story about if you have a date with money or if they knock on the door and you tell them you're a root of all evil, like I don't ever want to be rich because if you're resisting rich people, but you desire riches, you have such a conflicting belief inside you that it's literally pushing it all away. You cannot bridge yourself to abundance. From abundance, he took abundance and yet abundance remained. Love that quote. What does it mean? Look at the sea. A huge, vast sea. You come with the bucket, you take a bucket of the water, and there's other people with the buckets on the beach. They're going to come and there. You're not going to look at each other and say, don't take more because there will be less for me. There's plenty. It never even crosses our mind. And yet, there are people who believes that because there are some rich people in the world and they have less. It doesn't work like that. We don't have less but when somebody else has more. We have less because we haven't aligned with the frequency of wealth. We don't see ourselves there. We don't feel it. We have lots of wrong stories about money and they pushing the abundance away. Norman, back to you.
I totally agree, Vladi. And it goes not only with money, what you just shared about this plentiness, it's about everything. I played with my boys yesterday a game called Kniffel in German. And I think internationally it's called Yahtzee, probably. It's with 5 dice.
Yeah.
You have to make a full house and streets and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, it counts whoever has the most points. And I realized yesterday that sometimes, let's take a full house. You have 5 dice altogether. You need 3 dice with the same number and 2 dice with another number also the same. So let's say you have 3 ones and 2 twos. This would be a full house. And of course, what I just shared with 3 ones and 2 twos is the best full house because the full house gets 25 points. It doesn't matter the eyes on the dice itself. But sometimes you have fields where you count all the points on the dice. And I realized that when you have, let's say, 3 6s and 2 5s, you start to think about, it's a full house, but should I use this somewhere else? Because something like that, I don't roll the dice anymore. And I always have to stop myself and say, wait, it's just bogus. If I believe that this is the only time where I can do that, then I'm in lag mentality. So I don't allow other things come in. And it's just by luck. It's 5 dices. It could be the same 5 more rounds after that. It's the same with money, like Vladi shared with the ocean. It's a big ocean of everything. Nothing will run out. Still, you find your beliefs out when you think about money. And I realized that in my earlier days when I said, oh, no. I have to keep the money in my wallet. Yes, but would I like to have this ice cream? Yes, but it's expensive. It's 10 euros. Yes, but it would give me joy, right? Yes, so I trade joy versus money. And the question is, what is more important? And I see that so many people are stuck on this. I need money for retirement. I need a certain amount on my account to feel safe. But it's just a number on an account. It actually cannot give you anything. Still, people think, oh, I feel safe if I have a lot of money on my account. What if all the banks close down tomorrow? Then this number just disappears overnight. If you buy something, you at least have something, which means what one of our mentors shared with us, money has to circulate. You get it, you give it. You get it, you give it. You need to circulate it. If you just keep it under your blanket, it does not circulate. You're keeping the money, but at the end of the day, you cannot eat the money, you cannot drink the money, you cannot do vacation on the money. Yes, you can do everything with the money, so why not use it? And I just showed you my money clip for the ones that are on YouTube. I think it's from Ken Honda. I have a little note up front and it says arigato, Japanese, and it says thank you. That I remind myself, and you see a money clip, and it's actually engraved, and it says Norman Gräter, 1,000 euros per hour. And if I give a keynote, it's 6,500, and it's basically per hour, so I overreached that already. But can you make a money clip where your goal is written on it, and you keep all the money within, and you have this little arigato or thank you or danke note, whatever in your language. So whenever I pull that out, I see that, and I see if I give away, let's say, the 20, I say thank you, and not, oh my God, the 20, and now it's gone, oh, it was such a good friend, and you get value for that. You get value for that you chose. Yeah, but I have to pay tax. Then you made money, or you live in this country and use the roads, or whatever. It's never that you give money away where you get nothing back. So even if you have a hotel room that's 350 a night, you get something for that. And hopefully you find pleasure and not just suffer because it was so much money, because then the money is worthless. What I always do, at least in Germany, on the backside of the money, you always have bridges. Like on the 20 is a bridge, on the 10 is a bridge, on every one is a bridge. And Anke told me once, always position the money like backwards in your pocket, that the bridge is up front. Because whenever you give it away, you can say, over this bridge is coming more money. I give it away on one side, but money is coming from the other side. You can say, like I said, arigato, thank you. Come back with your relatives, with your friends. My dear 20 note. And when I pull the money out, I have my statement, I want to say my I am statement, and Vladi knows that I am the source of greatness, which we created in one of the podcasts because Vladi shared that. So that's my little money stack, and it always comes down to the same thing. Do you love money, or do you love what you can do with money? And that's a good question.
I love that. You know what's funny? For years, I've been doing what you're doing, but I don't have a clip that actually has the goal on it, so I'm going to actually order one. But this is very old feng shui. Thank you, Norman, for pointing it out. And guys, this is something that for centuries, you use in feng shui. It's the top of the money. Obviously now this one is fake, so it's not but as Norman showed you, the real top of the money should always be on the top. So when you're handing the money, you're even touching them and holding them, they shouldn't be upside down because you're inviting that energy in. So it's funny that you actually said it's the bridge. I've never heard the bridge phrase. I love that. So thank you to Anke. But it's that, so I use it the way that it has to be welcoming from the top. And money is energy. If you're keeping it in a pocket, like have few whatever 20s or something always in your pocket or wallet, although I know we're living at times where everything's just cashless, but that actually disconnects people from a true real values of money. So although we live in this time and everything's about bank transfers and tapping the cards and stuff, the real connection to the energetic values, that this is spiritual talk, is actually disappearing. So some say that there is intention from someone out there to actually disconnect people from it, because then they don't see the value. When you're holding it, when you're counting it, you have a different relationship with it. So there is a little bit of disadvantage that the cash is disappearing, because that is actually how we attract, how we really come. But as we're evolving, we need to learn to really visualize the bank account. Like, what is it you see? Do you pay? And I'm going to finish with it. And I think next episode we can carry on. We're talking a little bit more about belief, stock price, because this is a great subject for you. But really, what do you believe when you send money? Norman talked about this. When you pay for something, do you say, oh, I have to? Are you in a pattern of getting uneasy towards the end of the month because you know you have to pay the bills? If you're in that energy, and if you're repeating this energy month by month and month and month, that is how your subconscious is now programmed to think. So your body will automatically start feeling unease and unhappiness, and you don't even know why, towards the end of the month, because it's programmed to have fear and worry and doubt because you have to pay the bills. What if you set the bills on a repetitive, so you know, and say thank you to the electric company, thank you to the gas company. We spend so much time moaning and paying attention to how everything is in politics are not great, and the prices are rising because of the war and Ukraine and Russian. We can't do anything about this. We can't do anything about this, and it's a temporary situation. So what you can do is like, okay, how can I make more money? Focus on the other side and create something that is in place for you, that it's the same way as you set up your direct debits to pay your bills. Create something that brings the money in. What if you had the same money, more money coming in than you're paying out every month? It would be set that way. You would already be in a place of absolute joy and ease and relax, because you wouldn't have to worry. And then you would be in a state of creation. Now you could take it from there, creating whatever you would love, because there's no worry about how am I going to pay the bills. So we can talk about this next. So let's bring it to the next episode, talking more about money and money beliefs, and how you can reverse some of these and think differently.
Sounds like a good plan. So we see and hear you again in episode 33, coming back to the art of making, having, and spending money. Till then, bye bye.
Bye. Thank you.